Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing today? It's your guy, DeMarcus Tunstall from the Beta Project here. And I just want to say hello and happy late Turkey Day to everybody out there. I know you guys are out there. I hope you had a great, fantastic Thanksgiving. Let's go and get started. Today is November 29th here, 2019. And today's video is titled Stability and Mediocrity. And then you can always find us on YouTube at Humble and Focus. You always know that. We're there. And today's quote is, the minute you begin to have doubts, the floor underneath your feet starts to shake. Now, I like this quote. It's not really applying to anything other than the fact that it's kind of saying that at the end of the day, whenever you're starting to move things along and you finally start thinking things aren't going to go your way, that's when that stability, that shake happens. The problem is during that shake, some things are actually going on in the process, and that's what we're going to kind of talk about today. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Oh, wait, you're way up there. Hey, how you doing? All right, so here we go. So I want you to imagine this. If you were on a basketball court and you're dribbling around, you see them shooting, you see a pro basketball game. I mean, you're talking about NBA style. And then you're seeing people do all these amazing things, like they're going through the air and they're dunking, like, just dunking on cats. For those of you who don't know what that means, they're slamming the ball really hard. They're having slam dunk contests. I don't know. But anyway, so you see all this going on, you see all this happening, and everything's well. Like, they just have to get past the defender, and then they can just jump up and slam the ball. So now what I want you to think about is that same exact basketball game, that same exact game, and I want you to think about, instead, the floor is shaking the whole time. So when the floor is not shaking, ladies and gentlemen, these guys are just going up, they're getting air, they're flying through the air, they're doing these great feats. How different would it be if the floor was consistently shaking and the floor was consistently moving? How high do you think they would get? You think they would be able to jump like they jumped before? I don't think they would. Do you think they would be able to move like they do? I don't think they would. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, ladies and gentlemen, because here's what happens. Like, we have this life that shakes. And we know that when things start moving and shaking and they're not still, it creates an imbalance, right? And in the imbalance itself, it creates, like, for example, I just shook the video and the screen kind of moved. Like, it wasn't stable. But, ladies and gentlemen, when that stability hits, and this is where I wanted to go with this. When the stability hits, ladies and gentlemen, that is when we plant our feet to jump and rise. Like a basketball player on the court. If the floor was shaking, and the first thing they're probably going to do is that floor is shaking, is they're going to hunker down, right? And try to find that place of stability in all that chaos. But as soon as that goes away, and let's say the game for some reason never really stopped, they just continue playing, then they have the ability to rise, jump, and do all kinds of great things. In the stability, ladies and gentlemen, is where we create. The problem is that most people in the stability, because it's stable, they start to create mediocrity. Meaning that I believe that when the stability hits, that's the time that you plant your feet to rise. But other people feel that in the stability is their time to plant their house and live. See, ladies and gentlemen, everything in the world is not as easy as we think it is. And there's many times where you're going to be confronted with something that you may not understand, where you choose to take a simple path because you don't understand instead of stepping up to learn about it, to stepping up and growing for, right? But that's whenever that stability, because right now, my life is too shaky. Oh, I'm moving. Oh, I'm about to get married. I got a family. Oh, the money's situation's not right. I don't know where to go. Oh, my car's broke down. Oh yeah, my house is. What do you see? Instability, right? But as soon as all of that is good, ladies and gentlemen, instead of taking that time when everything is good and that thing is shaking to go to the next level, people plant their homes. And the problem with that is that, ladies and gentlemen, when you plant a home, if you don't know anything about homes, which everybody should, when you plant a home, it's about permanence. Now, we don't want you to stay on the level you are, ladies and gentlemen, because on the level you are, there's more for you. There's more to be given to you. But if you're not willing to let yourself jump in the stability, then you'll never jump in the times where it's shaky. That's when everything starts freaking out. That's not the time that most people want to move. I know for a fact that whenever we went to school, if I'm not mistaken, when we did earthquake drills and the earth was moving, the first thing they had you do was get underneath the desk and they had the teacher get in the doorway. And they did that, and they stood there in the doorway, and everything so that they could be safe. They didn't tell you to go outside and go run through the building and try to get to safety. No, they said wherever you are, you hunker underneath the desk or in the doorway so you can be safe. As soon as it stops shaking, then we go outside. So the idea behind it is that, ladies and gentlemen, that when it's shaking outside and the world's moving you and things in your life are not stable, they're telling you, okay, wait till it stops and then make a move. They're not saying wait till it stops and then stand there for the rest of your life. No, that's not the way it goes, because you make the move after the stability hits. But most people are making no moves and living in mediocrity. What if the reason that stability actually happens, ladies and gentlemen, is for you to plant your feet? The only reason that stability comes throughout life is because it's time for you to plant your shoes in the ground and explode up to the next level. You can't climb if it's shaking. If you've ever done one of those like Six Flags or one of those carnival games where they have the rope at the end and the rope here, and and there's rungs in between, and you gotta climb the rope, and then you kind of start and you start good, and all of a sudden you get to the middle and you start shaking. Do you keep going? No. What do? Everybody immediately freezes because they're trying to get stability so they can continue on. So why? But then they fall off. Usually most people fall off unless you know how to work the game. So the question is, ladies and gentlemen, is why is it that we know to make moves, to go to safety, to go to something more in stable times, but we won't do it in our lives? In our lives, what we do is we stop because of the fact that it's comfortable right now. Things have stopped shaking, so I probably need to get comfortable and relax. And that's not the time to do it. So let me go and give you this last quote here. Stability is useless if it means mediocrity. It's as simple as that, ladies and gentlemen. If you're going to have a life of stability and you're not going to use the stability to go to the next level, then it's useless. The idea behind it is that, think of the house you live in now. If the ground that the house that you live in now was planted on sand or on a rocky movement, the house wouldn't look the same way it does right now as far as building it. And two, you might not want to live there very much because all the stuff that you have is going to shake off the walls, or that the house is not going to be stable, so you're not going to feel safe. Stability equals safety. But ironically enough, that when stability equals safety, the average person decides that because I feel safe, now is a time for me to go ahead and plant my seed and plant my post and start creating my buildings. But in all reality, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at stability as being safe, now is a great time for you to explode up and plant your feet to create action in your life. Why? Because you have stability. Imagine that basketball game, the ground is shaking, it stops shaking, right? And then, so it stops shaking, the guy jumps up to dunk. Boom, dunks. He's on the rim, and then all of a sudden it starts shaking. He's going to lose his stability, and he's not going to want to come down because he might hurt himself coming down. So if you've got stability when you go up and you got stability when you go down, that's the time to leap. But the problem is we're not trying to move because it's a lot easier to stay in stability than it is to pop out of stability and move on to more. So I know how great you are, ladies and gentlemen. The question is, are you willing to put into yourself what it's going to take to jump at the time when stability is there? Or will you plant your house and complain? So ladies and gentlemen, the average person, when they plant their house, when I keep saying plant their house, I meant protection, because when we have home, whenever a home is well and good and safe, when we plant that home, we feel protected. So we know that we don't think anything bad can happen to us because we're inside of these walls. We kind of eliminate the things outside more because we're inside of these domiciles. But in all reality, ladies and gentlemen, those things, they can move and they can shake and they can come down. They can burn down. Someone can burn down your house. That happened to my neighbor next door just a week ago. And the whole point of this, ladies and gentlemen, is to say this. We plant houses for permanence. But that is not where you were meant to plant your house. You were meant to have much more than what you have right now, but you're not willing to step up and jump in the stable times. Instead, you're planting your flag, you're planting your home in the stable time. Don't plant for permanence. Go to the next level because there's something more for you, ladies and gentlemen, and that's all I want you to say. That's all I want to say to you today. It's the day after Thanksgiving. You're giving everything you're thankful for. You know, some people didn't have food last night. Some people didn't have a place to go last night. Some people are freezing outside. you know? So they're not really going to be thinking about trying to grow and build their life at this moment. Now, this is a great time for them to make a move because they may get comfortable in the chaos. And then they can move a little bit different. See, when you get comfortable moving in the chaos, ladies and gentlemen, you get a different feel when it starts shaking. Because when it's shaking and you're used to it, you can still move with grace and with fluidity. But when you're not used to this shaking, you stop. Don't get used to the stability, ladies and gentlemen. Learn how to walk whenever it's shaking. Learn how to walk and move when nothing's there to count on and rely on. When it's shaking, that's the time that you want to move forward so you can get to higher ground. So when it stops shaking, you then don't have to start climbing. You're already there. Stability is great, ladies and gentlemen. But if you don't use it for anything, then it's worthless. It's useless, as this quote says. And if you learn to walk in the chaos, you create and grow great things. And that's all I have for you, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm DeMarcus, and I believe in each and every single one of you. And I hope during the chaos, ladies and gentlemen, you plant your feet and you learn how to walk. And when it gets stable, you plant your feet and you jump as high as you can, because you may never get a stable situation where you are like that ever again. You don't know when that stability is gonna come back, or you don't know if it ever will come back. So plant your feet, go to the next level, and move yourself forward. And don't keep yourself locked. And that's all I have. You guys have a blessed day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Happy after Thanksgiving Day. Black Friday, enjoy yourself. And don't go buy all this stuff. I saw a quote that was pretty cool. It says, Black Friday discount. It says, save 100% if you don't go shopping. Boom. I'm just saying. Anyways, all right, guys, have a great day. Have a great Black Friday. Be safe out there, and I'll see you Monday.